Where I'm joined on the second half of this show by Jose Sabater, who is the, I guess, Executive Director number 2 at the Elizabeth Housing Authority. What actually is your title?
Director of Redevelopment, Mayor.
Director of Redevelopment.
It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
It's good to see you, Jose.
Thank you.
We've worked together now for 20 years.
Yes, we have.
That's a long time. Where'd the time go?
It seems that it was yesterday.
I know.
That we started our Hope 6 project, and you and I were taking the train ride to Washington to lobby our senators and congressmen on behalf of Hope 6, and now it's all done. And
I know. It's when we were there last week, and you and Bill Jones talked about those train rides during the month of July '97. We had to go down there 10 times in 1 month, I bet, back and forth.
And I recall that there was a heat wave.
It was a heat wave.
There was a heat wave, and walking the streets of Washington from one office to another with
piles of books,
manuals, 4 inches binders,
right,
with the application was a challenge, but it was worthwhile because after all those trips, we got over $100 million investment in the Elizabethport area that made possible the development that has taken place there in the last 14 years.
And it probably couldn't have happened without your steadfastness and your ability to shepherd the project from soup to nuts, as they say. You were not only working with City Hall, but also with the developers and making sure that the right puzzles were, the right pieces were there to the puzzle.
And the residents.
And the residents.
But it was a lot of fun. It was actually a dream for someone like me that, we went to school. This is what we wanted to do. And to be able to
You wanted to make a difference, and you made it.
And to be able to come back to my old neighborhood. When my family arrived from Cuba, that's where we lived.
Didn't know that.
That's where most of the Cubans lived, down the port. That was our port of entry. And we lived there for several years. And 20-some years or 30 years later, to be able to be back to our city and to our old neighborhood and have the opportunity to really make an impact and make that neighborhood better was really, I would say it was very, very thrilling. It was a
well, I want to tell you did a great job. We had some great meetings over the course of the years, and we had deadlines, and I always teased you about what deadline and when did you mean it by, and when you'd say spring, I'd often try to tie you down to what month in spring.
And date.
And date.
And date, 6 months earlier.
But we just opened up a new building. We're completed Hope 6, and you and Bill Jones, the executive director, said this is not the end, but it's the beginning of a new chapter, even though we've closed out Hope 6. But tell us about the new building, which is Gold Lead Senior Building. A lot of people may not understand the term, but it's important to future energy.
Absolutely. It is a 31-unit building for seniors. It's age restricted, 55 years and over. It's a mixed use. The first floor, the ground floor, has over 3,800 square feet of commercial space, which we are very pleased that the Elizabeth Development Company is going to be moving to the neighborhood, and they're going to be occupying the commercial space. And that's very significant because that means that to have EDC in the neighborhood, it really is going to speed up the process of the commercial redevelopment in the neighborhood. So we're very excited about that. They're definitely an incredible addition to the neighborhood. It is, as you mentioned, an Energy Star building. It is a LEED building. It's a healthy building. And essentially what it represents is that all the products that were used and the materials that were used in the building were green products. For example, the flooring, we use special linoleum, which is biodegradable. The ceiling tiles are bacterial repel. The hardwood floors are all bamboo floors, which is considered a green product because, of course, it doesn't take 200 years for an oak tree to grow, and then we knock it down to make hardwood floors. Bamboo pretty much exists everywhere, and it's actually a 30-year tree. So we have all bamboo flooring. The ventilation systems are especially designed for the building so that there will be constant flow of fresh air in the building. Special filters that also filter the area. It is really a very positive environment, especially for seniors that suffer of asthma or have some type of breathing issue, etc., or allergies. That's why when you enter the building, I believe that was Commissioner Winona who mentioned that as soon as you walk into the building, it's a cool building. It's very fresh. It's not just the air conditioner. It's just that there is a constant flow of air and ventilation. During the process of construction, the workers couldn't smoke while actually the building was being built. And at this time, although it's 100% occupied, one of the conditions is that it's a non-smoking building. So it's really environmentally very friendly.
What happens if you get caught smoking in smoking in the boys' room, as that old song goes?
Well, thank God we haven't had any problems, because it seems that the residents really do have captured the objective of this building. A green housing, it starts with changing our mind. We have to think about the whole aspect from a green perspective. And I think that the residents have caught up and they feel very comfortable in that environment. But there are consequences. I believe that the first time that you get caught, if you violate anything that is on the list, you get a warning, and it really can. You're putting your housing at risk. There's no question about it. After a repeating the violation, but really the intent is not to evict anyone. The intent really here is for the resident to understand what the community is, because ultimately we want them to talk about it with their family members, with their grandchildren, with their friends. I live in a green building and what it means. The importance of saving energy. I mean, as you know, the building has solar panels as well. It has a white roof. It has sunscreens, which is actually a part of the exterior. That's not really for look. It has a purpose. In the winter time, it actually allows the heat from the sun to get through the windows into the apartments, and in the summertime, actually it protects the apartments from the heat that is produced by the sun. So it's not just design. There is an objective as to why we included the sunscreen into the building. So we're very excited. We're very excited about creating really not just a green building, but a green community. It's the first one in Union County. I believe it's the first one that is subsidized in the state. It's only a few of them in the country. And we're very excited at the Housing Authority. Now it's building for the 21st century. We are moving forward. And we're very excited about that.
Now, Jose, you said that there were no units available, I guess. You said it was 100% occupied.
Absolutely.
Now, what was the criteria to choose the residents? You said age of 55. Is there an income criteria?
Yes, there is. Of the 31 units, 11 of those units are public housing units, which you have to be eligible for public housing. This is freely for family or individuals, seniors that are very extremely low income. The rest of the units are what's called a tax credit units, low income, part of the low income housing tax credit program, which is a 50% of median income. So those are for seniors that do have some income. Some of them may have a pension, etc. They're as well eligible for the housing. They were interviewed. Their history was looked at, and through the process of a waiting list, they were selected to become tenants. We advertised once the building was done, we advertised, and we essentially went to the public and announced, look, this building is going to be ready. We have over 200 applicants for 30 units. So that really expressed the need that is out there for senior housing.
And the people that didn't make it, some were probably excluded for whatever reason, but is there a current waiting list?
Absolutely. We still maintain a waiting list for the building, and we probably, as you mentioned earlier in the show, this is not the end. This is the beginning of a process for us. And we will continue the process of redevelopment in the neighborhood as well as in Elizabeth, and whatever we can do as a housing authority to fill that gap, we will do so. Again, those residents that were left out will be included for future developments. They will be notified whenever we build new housing that these units will be available for them as well. We're very happy, Mayor, that most of the residents are from Elizabeth.
That's good. That was said at the day that the people were there. This was part of Hope 6, this project?
No. This particular building, we finished Hope 6 in 2008. We did the closeout of Hope 6. However, this is part of the redevelopment of the Elizabethport area, which is part of the Hope 6 revitalization plan. So we have a plan in place that was developed as part of the development of the concept of Hope 6. That plan still is in place, and we are continuing with our plan in terms of our commitment. And the city definitely is one of the strongest partners in that effort, and so is Elizabeth Development Company as well.
The next endeavor of the Elizabeth Housing Authority, with Hope 6 all tied up, could you do something like this again in the future?
We are absolutely, and I feel very confident after the experience of Hope 6 that we can take on that challenge, Mayor, because the process is essentially the same. The steps that you need to go and to achieve, the milestones are essentially the same process. It may be in a different area, it might be somewhere within a different neighborhood with different challenges, but the process itself is really very, it's similar. Mm-hmm. And we have been able to develop excellent relationships in Washington with the Department of Housing and Urban Development. They know what we're capable of doing. Actually, they are encouraging us. They are, what's going to be next for the city of Elizabeth. And it's very
That's good to hear.
Oh, they're waiting. They're waiting for more things to come from Elizabeth, and they will hear from us as well.
So do we do a combination of tax credits and HUD money? I mean, it's tough with these crazy Republicans. They should come to Elizabeth and see what's happened with mm-hmm. development and HUD money, and they'd see the success as opposed to just constantly cutting the budgets.
Absolutely. For example, in this particular project, Mayor, as you know, we used funds from ARA, the American Recovery Act, and the stimulus money as well. That was passed a year ago when President Barack Obama was
active in testifying on all that money.
Correct. You were very much involved in making sure that piece of legislation was passed. As you recall, we were at risk of losing the project because the market had crashed, and all of a sudden we were facing a tremendous gap. This happened all over the country. The reality is that because of the stimulus money and the ARA funds, not only did we complete the project, not only did we create 31 new units of housing for the people of the cities, but we created over 300 jobs between the construction jobs, direct jobs, and indirect jobs.
And that was the focus of ARA.
Correct.
Jose, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on the show this evening. I look forward to working with the Housing Authority for the years to come and developing more housing for the residents of our community.
Anytime, Mayor.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
For Jose Sabater, for Winona Ingram, and for Miss Margaret Carroll, I'm Chris Bollwage, and we'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.